Hey, how's it going? It's Dan from modular.dev here. We're going to continue on with our Blazor chat application. A couple things I wanted to point out before we begin. You can access this code on GitHub, and you can go to the different branches to go to the video that you're working on. Obviously, this is video 4, so we'll have a video 4 branch after this video's over, so you can access this code. The link is in the description of the video, but yeah, feel free to check that out. Another thing is, last time we had a couple of errors. The first one was related to a LINQ query. So if any of you were watching on the last one, we were doing something like this. We were doing new rooms equals app state dot rooms dot where, and then we did where not rooms joined dot contains n, and that was I'll just delete all this stuff and reformat, and that was our LINQ query, and that didn't work. On the surface it seems like it should work, but what I was finding out was that actually what happens, if you're very familiar with LINQ, you may already know this. I usually use LINQ with the database, so this was kind of new to me. This rooms joined here, when we add these to the range, or we add range and we add these to the list, and now we iterate through new rooms again, we actually are re-executing this. And now, because they do contain those rooms, this for each fails. So I built a demo just so you can see. Again, it's kind of hard to debug through WebAssembly sometimes. So I built a demo one just so you can kind of see it. And let's run it here. So on first glance, we have new list. Whoops, hold on. I got to change one thing here real quick. All right. So at first glance, we have new list being 2 items, and then when we add to the other list, now all of a sudden new list is empty because this where gets re-executed here. So that's what's going on. There's an easy way to fix that, and that's what you may have seen right at the beginning here. If you do toList on this, that will make it so this where clause doesn't get re-executed. So now if I do it, it works. So that's all we have to do. We didn't have to necessarily rewrite that as a for each. We just have to do dot toList there. And there we go. The next thing that we are going to want to do here is fix the other bug, and that was I'll run this so you can see. All right. So if we have Tom here in room 1 and room 2, and he sends a message, we see it in room 1, and we should not see it when we get to room 2, but we do. And this was a little puzzling to me at first, but it looks like what's going on is Blazor actually calls one method twice. And I looked it up. I think it's an issue. I think they're going to fix it. But essentially what happens is, in this onParameter set async, it actually gets called twice. One with the old parameter and one with the new parameter. And so what happens is, when we clear out the list here, and both of them are waiting, it happens pretty much simultaneously, and they're both awaiting this server response. And because we don't clear after the server response, we clear before, the first one will add its things to the list, the second one will add its things to the list, and then we'll have a list with both of them in it. So in order to fix this, all you really need to do is keep track of the previous room name. So I'm going to set up a variable here. I'll set it equal to empty string. So if room name not equal to previous room name, return. Actually, I'm going to do, if it does equal the previous room name, we're going to return. We're not going to do anything in that case. Otherwise, we're going to set previous room name equal to room name and do our logic as planned. So now, hopefully, this should work. So if I am in room 1 and room 2 again, send a test message in room 1. Now when I get to room 2, it is empty. So that was the problem. Just to make sure it is working here, I'm going to say another message here. And we can go back and forth and get our different messages depending on what room we're in. So that's great. That's awesome. So now today we're going to start something new. And what happens if we have somebody else in a different room? Perhaps they're in room 1. And actually we have to register ourselves for these rooms. Okay. So if we are in room 1 and we send a message, how does the person in room 2 know that there's a new message? They don't, unless they go there and then they just happen to see it. So we want to add some kind of notification system. And I don't think that's going to be too bad. Let's give it a shot. So if we are in the room, the main layout, this is where we have our hub connection that receives the messages. And if you remember last time, we had set up our hub connection to, if we're in the room that the message came in, we're going to receive the message and add it to that room. Otherwise, we're going to do something else. So let's go ahead and fill in that. So I think what I want to do is create another property on the room. Well, let me think here. App state, well, what is this now? App state, rooms. Okay, so right now we have a list of rooms, and I think what I want that to be is a list of rooms and their number of notifications. So probably I'm just going to create a tuple here. So that's going to be a list of string and ints. And if you're not familiar with tuples, they're fairly new to C#. C# 8, I believe, or 7, somewhere in there. They introduced tuples. And it's basically a way that you don't have to create a class for this. Another way you might think of it is a key value pair. But tuples, you can do much more than 2 items. I could do as many as I want. I could do another string and so on and so forth. So that's what we can do here. This is slightly different than the regular tuple. If you do a tuple of string, int, etc., because this is, if I remember right, it gets passed by reference, so it gets put on the heap, whereas this is by value, so it's more like a struct in that sense, whereas the other one's more like a class. Just different memory management techniques, but more than likely you're going to want to use this one. It's also just simpler to use. You just put the parentheses around it and put the different types in commas. So that's the one I like to use. So let's go ahead and make these changes then. So when we add something to the rooms, let's see, where were we doing that? Okay, so instead of a new list of string here, we got to do a new list of string int. And here we're going to, inside the select, we're going to put 0. So that basically says, okay, we're going to make a new tuple with the string part being the rooms and the integer part being 0. So we're going to start all of them off at 0. Let's see, where else are we using this? All right. So we are going to look for all of them in this room where room joined contains n dot item 1, and probably I shouldn't call those item 1. I'm actually going to give those a name, so you can specify the name here. And now when I come in here, I can either say item 1 or I can say room name. And we are just going to select the room name. We don't need the we don't need the integer here. We don't need the number of notifications here, because all we need is to know the rooms that we need to add. So anyways, we're going to do that. So we're going to join the rooms, and that part I think should be the same now. So let's make sure we can compile. All right, so we compiled. Hopefully everything works correctly as it used to. So now when we send a message here, we're going to I guess I probably should have made that a dictionary, but oh well. So we're going to do app state dot rooms dot first or default, where n dot room name equals room name. Whoops. So remember we're getting the room name from the message, and then in here we're going to check to see which one of our rooms has that room name, and we're going to store that into our temporary variable. So if that room is not equal to null, I guess it could be null if we didn't find one. So as long as it's not equal to null, okay, this goes back to what I was saying as far as this being a struct. So structs are value types. Value types are not null. So we can't check null. We need to let's just do if string dot is null or empty room dot room name, because by default that room name will be empty. So if it's not empty, what we're going to do is we're going to why is this acting strange? I'm assuming that's just a weird error, IntelliSense error or something like that. Let's compile. Okay, we're compiling successfully, so this must be some IntelliSense error for now. So if we're gonna, so we find the room. If it exists, we're going to increment. Let's see, can we do this? I think so. So we're going to increment that notification count, and then we're going to we have to notify the menu, because the menu is where we're going to display the notifications. So let's go ahead, and I think we already have something for this. We have where is it? App state updated dot invoke. So that's what we're going to use. And where are we? We were in main layout. Okay. So we're going to do app state updated dot invoke. So now, and it's Wally. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. So now we are going to go ahead and go into the nav menu, and we're going to go into the area here, and basically we have the count now that we're going to put next to the room name. So we're going through each of these rooms, and here instead of just displaying the room, now we're going to display the room name, and we'll just display the count in parentheses for now, and that is notification count. Let's run this and just see what we get. All right, Let's go ahead and add ourselves to these rooms. Okay, so we have room 1, room 2, and they both have 0 notifications. And it looks like we need to update our link because it looks like the link up here is no longer just room 1, it's room 1 bracket 0. So we need to do room name here. All right, let's try that again. Okay, good. So if we are in this room, hopefully we'll see that this number is not increasing because we are getting notifications for this room. We're in the middle of this room. Let's try and go on a different tab and subscribe to this room. All right, so now we are in this room. Let's go to room 2 and see if this number increases when we send a message over here on room 1. And it did not. So let's see what's going on. Obviously, we go to it and it works fine. But the actual room, we're not getting notifications. So let's see what's going on. We have notification count. And we are looking for state has changed here. Just going to go ahead and make sure that this code is getting executed. So I'm just going to put a console.writeLine here. And again, you could, well, let's just try it. Let's just try debugging through Blazor. Again, I don't always have the greatest results when I try this, but I know they're working on it, so I can't give them too much flack for that. So let's go ahead and try to see what happens. And I'm going to put a breakpoint here. We should hit this, but let's just put it here first, just to make sure. And again, this is part of the problem with Blazor debugging, is it does take a while. Not sure if it's stuck or what's going on. There we go. All right, we're here. So we also need to open up, well, let's just do this. Okay, so we don't want to hit that breakpoint. Let's take that one off. Okay, so we are here in this receive message, and we're expecting this to be true because we are in that room. Okay, so let's try opening up another tab. And we'll be a different person here. And we'll go into room 2 and see what is going on. We should hit this breakpoint twice. All right, our current room, we got in there, and we're not getting in there for this one. Let's see. All right. I don't necessarily trust Blazor debugging, so let's go ahead and just go back to a good old-fashioned console.writeLine. And we'll put it in here. Well, destination room. We'll put room name here. Whoops, room name. And current room. We'll put this whole thing. And we should see 3 messages on each window here. So let's go ahead and check. All right, on this one, we're going to do room 1, room 2. And on this one, we'll also do room 1, room 2. So in room 2, this one's in room 2, this one's in room 1. Let's open up the console on both. All right. So in this tab, we got destination room, room 1, current room, room 1. That's what we expected to see. On this one, we get received message, destination room, room 1, current room, room 2. And that's what we expected to see. So this number here is not getting updated correctly. And that's fine. Let's just go ahead and see. Let's see what this is here. Let me think for a second. All right, room.room name. And you know, if this came back without finding anything, then that tells us that it didn't pick up the message for some reason. Hopefully it says found room, room 2, and I'm just going to put another one in here. Notification increasing. See if we get in there too. All right, close those down. All right, and this one. So in room 1, let's go ahead and, well, he'll be in room 2, he'll be in room 1, and we send a test, and what do we get for this guy? Notification is increasing. So the notification should be increasing. The state hasn't changed though. So we did get here. We are doing room.notification count plus plus, and we should, we're calling app.state state updated .invoke, and that should come here and update this notification count. So I guess let's do this. Notification count. I'm wondering if we can't change it because it's a tuple. Let's do this. Let's make this a dictionary instead of a tuple. That may be the problem. It may not, but I should have made it a dictionary in the first place. So here, let's do this. Public dictionary string int. All right. And then we'll map the rooms to the notification counts. It's probably how we should have done it anyways. Let's see where all we have to update. So rooms equals new dictionary. And here, can you do a dictionary dot, let me see. No, you have to iterate through those. So let's go ahead and do this for each. For each string s in split array, app state dot rooms dot add s0, because dictionary does not have add range, so we're kind of out of luck with that. And then same thing up here, we're doing app state dot rooms. Let's go ahead and dot add app state.rooms. All right, var pair. So we're going to iterate through all the rooms in the app state, and we're going to add. Can we do it like that? Not sure. No. So pair.key, pair.value. So basically, we're just copying over these two dictionaries to maintain our local state, and that way we don't have to worry about accidentally messing up the global app state variable inside this home index view here. All right, so let's see. We have, come on. Visual Studio is freezing up on me here, and it just closed down. All right, let me open up a new copy of it. Sorry about that. All right, we're back. So let's see what else we have for rooms. And here we're doing app state.rooms.first or default. In this case, we don't have to do that. We can do app state.rooms.contains key because it's a dictionary now, and room name. So we'll say if it contains that key, then we'll go into this logic here. And we'll do app state.rooms room name. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do this anymore, actually. Sorry. All right. So we're going to do room app state.rooms room name, and that takes in an integer, right? Because we're mapping the string to an integer. So we're going to do app state.rooms room name +1. So basically, we're just incrementing that in the dictionary, and then we're going to be updating, or we're going to be invoking this. So let's see, maybe that's the problem we had here. All right, so we also have to fix this. N.key. N.key. All right, what other build problems do we have? All right, n.key, room.key, and room.value. Is that it? Okay, let's try that. All right, room 1, room 2, room 1, room 2. So if he's in room 1 and he's in room 2, let's see if we get it this time. Hey, we did. So yeah, the problem was that the tuple, you couldn't increment it. It would, yeah, not really sure why we didn't get an error, honestly. But hey, it is what it is, right? So we made a dictionary, and now we have a notification. So what we want to do then is when we go to that room that has a notification, that it clears out that notification. So if you see, we went there and we did get the message, but we still have this thing saying we have a notification. So let's go ahead and do that. So in the room, we have all this code here. and that gets executed on parameters set. So what we want to do is find app state.rooms, where it's the room name, and it's probably safe to assume that it's in there, but I guess let's just double check. So if it contains key room name, then we're going to app state.rooms room name equals 0. We're going to set that back to 0. So when we go there, it will no longer have that number there. Let's see if that fixes it. All right. All right, so he's in room 1. Let's just keep him on the home page, just see what happens. Test. All right, he has a notification, goes in there, and nothing happened. And I think that's probably because we did not do app state dot updated. And if you remember why we have to do this in the first place, it's because the way Blazor works is it checks for changes within your component. And if there is, it updates them. The problem is we're updating this data in a different component than what our menu is. So our menu doesn't think anything has changed. So we have to send a notification to it basically that it changed. Perhaps someday Blazor will be able to know all of that, but that's kind of a lot to ask. So for now, we're just going to call app state updated.invoke. And that should do it. Let's just double check. Okay. And we'll go into room 1 here, say test. All right, Bob has a notification. And there it goes. We're back. So that's pretty much what I wanted to show you today. There's a couple other things I was thinking maybe we could get to, but I think it's a good place to stop. And I think the next project I want to go over is the new things that are going to be coming out with Blazor with the preview, I think it's preview 8 release. That comes out, I think on the 25th. Which is going to be my next live stream is the 25th as well. So if it's not out by then, we'll start a different project. I'm thinking maybe doing something with Cosmos DB, or maybe doing something with the native file, what is it called? Native file system picker or something like that. That is kind of new to JavaScript. So we'll do one of those things next time. So I guess if you have any other questions on the Blazor chat app, let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching.